Hey everyone, welcome back to Express in English. I'm Leo and I'm calling in from Dallas, Texas.
And I'm Chris, joining from Houston, Texas. Today we're doing something a little different. We're going to compare our two cities and share what it's really like living here.
That's right. Houston and Dallas are both big Texas cities, but they're actually quite different. So let's start with the obvious question, Chris. What's the weather like in Houston?
Before we dive in, I should mention that I've actually lived in Dallas for about 8 years now. I moved here from a smaller town in Oklahoma, so I've really gotten to experience what big city life in Texas is all about.
Oh, wow. Well, Houston is incredibly humid. I mean, really humid. When you walk outside in summer, it feels like you're walking into a wall of moisture.
And I've been in Houston for about 6 years now. I actually grew up in Austin, so I've experienced different parts of Texas. But Houston has definitely become home for me. It's amazing how different each Texas city can be.
Ugh, yeah.
It's hot and sticky from about May through October. But what about Dallas? I've heard it gets really hot there too.
It does get hot, but it's a dry heat. So 100 degrees in Dallas feels different than 90 degrees in Houston because we don't have that humidity.
Right, exactly.
You can actually stay outside longer, and our winters are a bit colder. We might get some ice or even snow occasionally.
Oh, wow, snow. We almost never get snow in Houston, maybe once every few years. And when we do, the whole city shuts down.
Huh. Yeah, same here actually. Texas just isn't prepared for snow.
You know what's interesting about Houston's humidity? It actually affects everything: your hair, your clothes, even how you plan your day. I have to factor in time to change clothes after walking outside in the summer and forget about wearing makeup that will last all day.
Not at all. Now, what about getting around? How's transportation in Dallas?
That's so different from Dallas. Here, the dry heat means you can actually spend time outdoors. I go running in the mornings, even when it's going to be over 100 degrees later. And our spring weather is absolutely perfect. Probably March through May are the best months here. We get these beautiful blue sky days with low humidity.
Well, Dallas has the DART system. That's our light rail and bus network. It's actually pretty good for getting to downtown or the airport. But honestly, most people still drive everywhere.
Yeah.
The traffic can be really bad during rush hour, especially on I-35 and the Dallas North Tollway. What about Houston?
Oh, Houston traffic is, well, it's terrible. We have some of the worst traffic in the country. The freeways are always packed.
One thing I really like about Dallas is how spread out the metro area is. You have all these different suburbs with their own character. Plano has great schools and shopping. Frisco is booming with new developments. And then you have places like Deep Ellum and Bishop Arts District that are more artsy and walkable.
Wow. We do have the metro rail, but it's pretty limited compared to other big cities. Most people have to drive, and a 20-minute trip can easily become an hour during rush hour.
Oof, that sounds rough. What about cost of living? Is Houston expensive?
It's gotten more expensive recently, but it's still pretty reasonable compared to cities like New York or San Francisco. You can find decent apartments for around $1,200 to $1,800 a month, depending on the area.
Right. Similar here.
Food and groceries are pretty affordable too. What about Dallas?
Dallas is probably a bit more expensive overall. Rent in nice areas like Uptown or Deep Ellum can be $2,000 or more for a one-bedroom apartment.
Oh, wow.
But if you live in the suburbs, it's much cheaper. And no state income tax in Texas, which helps both our cities.
That's true. That's a big advantage. Now, what about safety? How do you feel living in Dallas?
It really depends on the neighborhood. Areas like Plano, Frisco, and parts of North Dallas are very safe. But like any big city, you have to be careful in certain areas at night.
Yeah, exactly.
I generally feel safe walking around downtown during the day, and most neighborhoods are fine. What about Houston?
Similar situation here. Some areas like the Woodlands or Sugarland are really safe, while other parts of the city you need to be more careful. I think both our cities are generally safe if you use common sense.
Absolutely. So, what do you love most about Houston, Chris?
Oh, the diversity. Houston is incredibly diverse. You can find amazing food from every culture here. We have incredible Vietnamese food, amazing Mexican restaurants, great Indian cuisine,
That sounds amazing.
and people here are really friendly and laid back. Plus, we're close to the Gulf Coast, so you can drive to the beach in about an hour. What about Dallas? What do you love about it?
Speaking of food, I'm actually curious about Houston's food scene. I know you mentioned the diversity, but what are some specific places or dishes that Houston's famous for? Because Dallas has some great food too, but I feel like Houston has this reputation as a real foodie city.
I love that Dallas feels like a real city with a downtown skyline and lots of cultural activities. We have great museums, theaters, and the arts district is really impressive.
Oh my gosh, yes! Houston is incredible for food. We have this area called Chinatown that's actually huge. It's not just Chinese food, it's Vietnamese, Thai, Korean, everything. The Vietnamese community here is one of the largest in the US, so the pho and banh mi are amazing. And don't get me started on the barbecue. We have this whole barbacoa culture from the Mexican influence.
That's cool.
And the economy is really strong. Lots of job opportunities in tech, finance, and other industries. Plus, we have great sports teams if you're into that.
That sounds incredible. Dallas has a great food scene too, but it's maybe a bit more upscale focused. We have some really amazing fine dining restaurants downtown and in areas like Bishop Arts District. The barbecue here is more Texas style, lots of brisket and dry rubs. And we have a growing craft beer scene. Deep Ellum, especially, has become this hub for breweries and unique restaurants.
Hey, you know what? We should visit each other's cities. I'd love to experience Dallas and see what it's really like.
That's interesting about Dallas having strong job opportunities. Houston's economy is heavily tied to the energy industry, of course. We have so many oil and gas companies headquartered here. Plus, the port brings in a lot of international business. But we're also seeing growth in tech and healthcare. The Texas Medical Center is actually the largest medical complex in the world.
That's a great idea. I could show you around Deep Ellum and downtown, and I'd love to visit Houston, especially to try all that amazing food you mentioned.
That's impressive about the medical center. Dallas has really diversified economically. We have a lot of corporate headquarters. Companies like AT&T, Texas Instruments, and Southwest Airlines are all based here. And the tech scene is growing fast. A lot of companies from California are moving operations here because of the lower costs and business-friendly environment.
Perfect. I know exactly where to take you for the best Vietnamese pho and some incredible barbecue.
What about nightlife and entertainment in Houston? Like, what do people do for fun on weekends?
Now I'm getting hungry. Well, I think that gives our listeners a good comparison of our two cities. Both Dallas and Houston have their unique advantages.
Houston has a really vibrant nightlife. Midtown and downtown have lots of bars and clubs. We also have this area called Washington Avenue that's popular with younger crowds. But honestly, one of my favorite things is just the live music scene. We get a lot of great concerts, and there are smaller venues all over the city. Plus, we're only a few hours from Austin, so we get that music culture influence too.
Exactly. Whether you prefer the cultural scene in Dallas or the diversity in food in Houston, both cities offer great opportunities to live and work in Texas.
Thanks for listening to Express in English, everyone. This was a fun episode comparing our cities.
That space center must be so cool to have nearby. Dallas has great entertainment too. Deep Ellum is probably our most famous area for nightlife. It has this gritty, artsy vibe with lots of live music venues and unique bars. And if you're into sports, Dallas is incredible. We have the Cowboys, Mavericks, Stars, Rangers, and FC Dallas all within the metro area. The sports culture here is huge.
We hope this helped you practice your English while learning about life in Texas. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Until next time, keep practicing your English.
Houston is huge on sports, too. We have the Texans, Astros, and Rockets. The Astros winning the World Series a few years ago was incredible. The whole city was celebrating. And the energy at Texans games is amazing, even when they're not having the best season. Plus, we just got a new MLS team, Houston Dynamo. Sports definitely bring the community together here.
You know, one thing we should probably mention for people thinking about moving to either city is education. Dallas has some really strong school districts, especially in the suburbs. Places like Plano and Highland Park are known for their schools. And we have great universities too. UT Dallas, SMU, and we're close to TCU in Fort Worth.
Houston has great educational opportunities too. Rice University is here, which is incredibly prestigious. And University of Houston has grown a lot in reputation. For K-12, some of the suburban districts like Cy-Fair and Katy are excellent. Houston ISD itself is huge, one of the largest in the country, so there are good schools and challenging schools depending on the area.
You know what I've noticed about Dallas versus other Texas cities? There's definitely more of a business culture here. People dress up more for work, there's more of a networking scene, and it feels more corporate overall. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but it's different from that laid-back vibe you mentioned in Houston.
That makes sense. When I first moved to Dallas from Oklahoma, I was actually a bit intimidated by how big and metropolitan it felt. But once you find your neighborhoods and your people, it really does become home. And there's something exciting about being in a city where things are always growing and changing.
Okay, that's about it for today. See you next time.
See you soon.